And new edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. Man, we're on a little bit earlier than expected. You would think we'd be on the weekend, but we're gonna do a two-part show, one for today and tomorrow, next for the weekend. Well, the Pro Wrestling Show starts right now. Everyone, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Show. As always, I'm your host Kendrick Dix here, doing a test run. We're doing a first ever test run. We're gonna see how this go. So we're gonna do the Pro Wrestling Show for this Thursday. How everyone doing? Don't forget that tonight's episode of The Tape comes your way later on at 8/7 Central here on Connect TV. Man, oh man, I'm so glad, happy that you joined us here on this Thursday. We're doing a test run as we speak. So we're going to test run, see if we get a lot of views, we may take into consideration and may do a two show, per week. 2 shows per week episode. So one for only for WWE news related hot topics, however you want to talk about. we still do that, and then other for other wrestling promotions like Impact, Ring of Honor. Give those platforms their own little opportunity to showcase and talk about them and review them as well. Well, let's get started using that hashtag PSW. Join in that conversation. You don't want to miss a thing where we talk about the latest news, information, headlines, all that here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Let's get started with the Raw Ring Report. On the Raw Ring Report this week, it was a lot of emotion. Roman Reigns came to the ring, informed the WWE Universe that he is battling leukemia. Wow, leukemia. And he had to surrender the Universal Championship. And Reigns just broke kayfabe and said his real name, Joe. Well, we know Joseph Allen from the Allen family. Roman Reigns showed a lot of courage. He is a brave fighter, and I believe he will be back in tip-top shape, but he wants to take care of his health. That's first and foremost important to, them being athletes. But, now people have a different perspective of him. Love him or hate him, you have to not deny that Roman Reigns is a strong force in the WWE right now. With in the ring, out of the ring, Roman Reigns, man, it was heart touching, it was heartfelt that Roman Reigns is going through that, and we here at the Pro Wrestling Show offers our severe condolences to Roman Reigns to get back in the ring and show what a true fighter he is and a true champion he is when he surrendered the Universal Championship. As you saw that full of emotion when Roman Reigns, the WWE Universe standing stunned, silence. It's like it kicked you in the gut, like, man. Everybody's human, everybody's going through things. You never know what person is going through each and every day. And Roman Reigns is a true example of courage and inspiration. And I hope Roman Reigns he's gonna have the best care. I tell you that right now. WWE top notch when it comes to their athletes. Well care. Roman, the face of WWE, and we wish Roman Reigns a speedy recovery, because when you saw that last moment when Dean and Seth, his brothers, he like to call them, came out, you can tell Seth Rollins took it the most. He took it, and Dean was crying too. They had to hold it back, but Seth took it the most. Seth had to break character. But I believe Roman Reigns, I'm a firm believer, Roman Reigns will be back and will be stronger than ever. Also, with the kick things off was Finn Balor did the unthinkable. He defeated Bobby Lashley in this squash match. Lashley has been on a roll now with this new heel turn with his new advisor or hype man, Leo Rush, in his corner, and with that annoying Lashley. But it's annoying, but it makes people annoyed with him because he's saying it. But the big man, Lashley, and Leo Rush's plans didn't come to dominate. They got come to undominate by Finn Balor, who picked up the win, and you know Lashley is not going to forget about that. Also, Sasha Banks comes with her cohorts, Natalya and Bayley, to take on Ruby Riott from the Riott Squad. Well, Sasha lost in the effort, but you know that leads to their 6-woman tag team match at Evolution from the Raw side of things. We'll have that on this show. Predict the outcome. We'll do the predict the outcome as well. So Sasha Banks kind of, missed opportunity on that one. Also, D-Generation X versus the Brothers of Destruction, hyping up Crown Jewel coming their way next Friday. But the Brothers of Destruction showed a eerie photo pic of 2 tombstones between D-Generation X members, showing that they're going to dig their graves and leave them there forever. Like I said, the Attitude Era was the best era in wrestling. No question about it. But, you know, you got like both of all of them like reliving the midlife crisis. Like, first time ever, you never thought you'd see DX against the Brothers of Destruction. Well, the first for everything. Left DX kind of wondering what's next for him. Also, Paul Heyman cut a deep emotional promo praising Roman Reigns for his efforts in becoming a champion, which I never had thought Heyman had in him. But he did. He cut a promo, and then he cut a promo towards Crown Jewel, where his client, Brock Lesnar, is scheduled to meet Braun Strowman. That was originally supposed to be a triple threat between Roman, Lesnar, and Strowman. But now, since Roman Reigns, with his battling leukemia and his health issues, has to be removed out, and now it's Brock versus Strowman for the vacated Universal Championship. Braun Strowman came out and ripped Paul Heyman through and through, and then all of a sudden he gets attacked and ambushed by Drew McIntyre. Now, I don't know if Drew McIntyre got this man's number or what. Now, it'll be intriguing to see if Braun wins the title and they have a feud with Drew. That makes sense, because they used to be partners. You know, they got impromptu. Now they're kind of at odds with each other. So I want to see that direction rather than you give it to Brock. Brock's going to be like how Braun said. He's going to keep the title as long as he pleases and when he wants to defend it, rather than you got someone active like Braun who needs that title, and he's been pushed heavily throughout this year, winning the Greatest Royal Rumble and winning Money in the Bank. So he is possibly the odds-on favorite to win it. Now, hope they go that direction. All right. Elias, the man on the plan, singing. He beats Apollo Crews, but out of twists of faith, Elias tries to want to play his song, but Baron Corbin tries to tell him they're going to do time constraints, and Elias didn't like that, and Elias smashed the guitar behind Corbin's back, where now Elias is a babyface. Big wonder. Well, I guess the fans wanted it for so long, now it's happening. Also, women's champion Ronda Rousey and her challenger Nikki Bella had their contract signed, and they both exchanged words, where Ronda was going back to what she said last week about knocking on John Cena's door, which she could have still had stuff like ammunition. She kind of lacked on that, where she didn't want to. She told the Bella Twins, come on in the ring. If you say something nasty and negative, I ain't going to attack you. If you attack me, I ain't going to strike you. Well, the Bella Twins said all the stuff they were saying about Ronda, about her UFC career, how she transitioned to WWE, and now she slapped Ronda, and Ronda kind of smiled and said she would do all the talking and all the action at Evolution. So that match between these women will go down at Evolution. Speaking of Evolution, you know, the Battle Royal where past, present, and future all will align in that Battle Royal, especially these women. Ember Moon defeated Nia Jax, Tamina, and Dana Brooke. Now, Ember Moon could propel herself coming into the Battle Royal and earning herself a future women's championship match against whoever that might be. Speaking of that, they continue on promoting Evolution, where Trish Stratus and Lita Richards was talking and did a promo, and they talked about their match against Mickie James and Alexa Bliss. Now, a lot in question about Alexa Bliss is suffering a concussion, and doctors are doing checkup to see if she'll be ready in time for Evolution. We haven't heard from it yet what's going on. So they brought in Alicia Fox, who could be a replacement for Bliss if Bliss is not unable to compete. So they got in backstage brawl, and it just got heated. So we'll see between the Attitude Era legends, Trish Stratus and Lita, against Alicia Fox or Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Depending on Alicia Fox can replace Alexa Bliss or not, it's a suitable replacement. Alright. And finally, the Raw Tag Team Championships were on the line as the Shield defeated Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. They was doing it for Roman, in memory for Roman, to win the titles, and they did it. And you thought it was a bittersweet moment, and it turned out to be a horrible moment as Dean Ambrose tagged Seth Rollins from nowhere after they just won the tag team titles, after what they've been going through beginning in the first 2 hours of the show. And Dean Ambrose just went, attacked, destroyed Seth Rollins piece by piece. And Dean kept saying, "You know what you done to me," and all this stuff. And I think it's for revenge and not caring or what, I don't know. Dean ended that. So, damn. Well, don't go anywhere. The Pro Wrestling Show will be back. Stay tuned. Back to the Pro Wrestling Show. Once again, I'm your host, Kendrick Dix. Again, wow. Join in that conversation using PSW here on Connect TV for everything Pro Wrestling Show. We're on now. We're going to do 2 shows this week. We're doing a test run to see how the 2 shows do so far. So, leave comments, leave suggestions, however you want to do it. Subscribe always to Connect TV. We're glad you're here. Let's go to the SmackDown Ring Report. On the SmackDown Ring Report, SmackDown kicked off with the New Day want to know why the Big Show attacked them and cost them the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Well, New Day didn't waste no time where they offered to have one of their members against Big Show and The Bar, the newly found alliance. Well, it turns out to be what it was last week, where Big Show defeated Kofi Kingston after Kofi wanted his revenge. And The Bar did the same thing once again to all the former SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the New Day. And now The Bar must put their titles on line against the New Day in a rematch for the Tag Team titles. So we'll see that as that plays out. Also, the Usos goes against, once again, the WWE Champion AJ Styles and his challenger at Crown Jewel, Daniel Bryan. Well, another lack of miscommunications as last week. Daniel Bryan cost the new form team their match. Well, this week the champion AJ Styles did the same, lack of communications, accidentally kicked Bryan in the head, and AJ cost himself and Bryan another match. So it's kind of like, what's going on with that? All right, Becky Lynch made a surprise visit to the Performance Center while Charlotte Flair was talking to top prospects and top recruits at WWE's Performance Center about the ins and outs about the WWE business. Well, Becky didn't waste no time after she attacked Charlotte, and the recruits and everyone else had to separate the two women from not ripping each other apart. And we'll talk about that later with the Evolution predicted outcome. Also, Rusev gained some revenge over former ally Aiden English, where Aiden English had did all that to the man wife Rusev to Lana, and Aiden English had suffered defeat with the Accolade. Also, Asuka was supposed to be in a tag team match with Naomi against Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and then everyone from SmackDown came out. Lana, Carmella, Zaya Vega, everybody came out, and it was just the match never started. It was just, it just ended. But Asuka stood tall. Now Asuka has something to accomplish. If you remember earlier this year, Asuka won the women's Royal Rumble. Naomi, her tag team partner, won the women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania. So Asuka and Naomi from the SmackDown side of things has a chance and advantage, but don't be surprised to see them two at the end or in the final four of that match. Also, Shane McMahon, the commissioner of SmackDown, appeared and hyped up the WWE World Cup to determine the best in the world. When the audience determined that CM Punk was the best in the world, and Shane McMahon quickly dismissed it, saying, well, he's not in this cup. One thing, CM Punk is the best in the world, but CM Punk, there's a strange relationship with WWE right now. Hey, Shane McMahon just doing the obvious. But speaking of the obvious, Rey Mysterio went one-on-one against The Miz before Rey appeared on The Miz's show, Crown Jewel, before he got insulted by Miz. But Rey picks up the win, and Rey looks to stamp his ticket approval to go to Crown Jewel to be determined the best in the world, as Shane like to say, but fans saying it was CM Punk. And another match between WWE qualifying World Cup participants. Randy Orton defeated Jeff Hardy in a match. Once again, we thought Randy Orton was going to use those harness tactics, but Orton was going to, but Jeff Hardy blocked him out. But Orton at the end hit the RKO for the 1, 2, 3. Damn, Randy Orton is. But then you don't know, everybody's scattering around. That's like what Kurt Angle was saying. He was scattering his opponents because he fought just about everyone in that match except, I think, Seth Rollins. He never fought Seth Rollins one-on-one. But hey, it's a stretch. But hey, you never know. Well, that ends the SmackDown Ring Report. Alright, let's head off to Hot Topics. Alright, on Hot Topics this week, the NWA celebrated its 70th anniversary. But they was receiving some technical issues. But from the end standpoint, the audio was down. The levels was down. You can overhear the announcers talking. It was just, they got to work on they're gonna do another show like that, and they got to work on that. But Billy Corgan came on here on Twitter and said this. Yes, Corgan admitted that there were audio issues, but hey, that's what comes with the territory when you running a show. It ain't like a weekly show. So good in-ring product, and it showcased everyone to a worldwide audience who may not know these wrestlers. They may know some of them. So hey, this is what it is. Also at that event, NWA legend Road Warrior Animal appeared and announced that the NWA the Crockett Cup will return to the NWA for 2019 in Charlotte, North Carolina, sometime around next year. So the NWA making power moves slowly and predominantly by being consistent and concise. So one thing about the NWA, they are consistent and concise. When you watch these YouTube videos, it's like, hey, they might not need a TV network. They might just need being on YouTube, because since everybody's on YouTube now, it's so direct and so accessible. Everybody's on there, either on YouTube or Facebook. Some form of way, form of fashion, they get in the internet from those two mediums, or Twitter or Instagram. So Hey, it might play out that hey, you might not need the networks or the corporations now these days. All right. Impact Executive Vice President Don Callis shows up for any event and turns heel. And you won't believe how. Look at this.
6-star match. You and I both know that Okada carried you. Let's just be clear about one thing, because it doesn't get reported. The only reason you got that shot at Okada where you won the title was because I got my friend Chris Jericho to agree to wrestle you. Otherwise, you were going to be gone. Oh. You're welcome, Kenny.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
Without me, there's no main event at the Tokyo Dome because I begged Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho said, "Who the hell is Kenny Omega?" Chris Jericho said, "There's only 3 people from Winnipeg who ever meant a goddamn in this business. Roddy Piper, Chris Jericho, and Don by God Callis." And when I hear you put yourself on that list, it makes me sick. And here's the worst thing that you've done. You've taken all your talent and all your fame and your IWGP title, and what do you do on the one day off you have? You come to a second-rate dive bar with a bunch of losers from Winnipeg. What kind of an IWGP champion wrestles in front of a bunch of unemployed loser marks on his day off?
Yeah! Kenny does!
Yes, Don Callis turns heel on IWGP champion Kenny Omega. Well, Callis and Omega are no strangers to each other. We're both of them from Winnipeg, and said Callis was saying that Jericho begged him. He begged Jericho to have a match with Kenny Omega. Well, that would be intriguing if you get Kenny Omega to Impact rather than WWE, because it's kind of looming that he's WWE bound, but we don't know for sure yet on what's going on with it. Remember, we told you that story this past weekend that Jim Ross and Y2J wants to start a wrestling promotion. So we'll and I want to get Jim Ross's take on that. So on the weekend pro wrestling show, you know, we might see what JR's take on that. You know, tape. Speaking of tape, don't forget the tape comes on tonight. 8/7 Central here on Connect TV. Alright, that is the hot topics. Let's go to predict the outcome for WWE Evolution. Alright, Evolution comes your way from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. So let's look at the matches that's already on this stacked, spectacular, all-female event show card. Kairi Sane defends the NXT Women's Championship against Shayna Baszler. Well, ain't no brainer. I want to say Kairi Sane wins this match and wins it fairly. Alright. Bayley, Natalya, and Sasha Banks team up against the Riot Squad in a huge 6-lady tag team match. Well, I gotta go with the good team. Bayley, Natalya, and Sasha will pick up the win in this match. Alright. And the finals of the Mae Young Classic will be, as you saw yesterday's show, if you watched on the WWE Network exclusive, Toni Storm versus Io Shirai. I want to say Iri Saruma will win this match because she is deadly and she knows how to kick up with a punch. She knows those educated feet. Indeed. The NXT UK Women's Championship is on the line. It's Rhea Ripley versus Isa. I want to say Rhea Ripley will win. If you watch NXT, as of late, you know, you get that little Sullibug and how their UK division on the network has too. So look out for that. As we talked about, then, now and forever match where Lita and Trish team up. The Attitude Era Divas are women superstars now versus Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Now, Alexa cannot compete in this match. There will be a suitable replacement as Alicia Fox will fill in for this match. And I would say Lita and Trish will win the match and have their hands raised in token of victory. The Battle Royal, the all-women's Battle Royal, where whoever winner receives a women's title match. Man, it's kind of like you want to go with Asuka, you want to go with Naomi, but you want to go with somebody that's different and new. So I will go with Nia Jax winning the Battle Royal and to meet Ronda Rousey again in the future. Alright. Speaking of Ronda Rousey, she defends her Raw Women's Championship against Nikki Bella in a one-on-one match. Man, well, this is no brainer. Ronda Rousey will win this match and dominate and continue on going, while she'll send Nikki Bella back to her projects on Birdie B and Total Bellas and Total Divas and anywhere she could go. And then finally, I hope will be the main event of the night. Charlotte versus challenges Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's Championship in the last woman standing match. Well, it's been friends, better enemies. I think Charlotte is going to win this match. So look for Charlotte to win and win big. And I hope she does to get that retribution. Alright, that does it for our test run of the Pro Wrestling Show. We're doing a 2-day test run for this week Pro Wrestling Show. You get the Pro Wrestling Show twice in 1 week. You get us today on Thursday, and you get us this weekend. So it's better options than never before. Thank you all. Subscribe to Connect TV. Join in that conversation at PSW. Leave comments. You know, hey, suggestions are welcome here on Pro Wrestling Show and on Connect TV. So we here at the Pro Wrestling Show say so long, and we'll see you this weekend here on the Pro Wrestling Show.